factories or some retail shops have a receipt they give you, and it's very clear, goods once sold are not returnable. So no matter whatever you find as a challenge, it is done. We've taken your money, and that makes the end of the entire journey. But you have rights. And this is what the experts I have in studios today are going to be discussing. That's what we're going to be talking about. I have the spokesperson of the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, that is Chirabo Sylvia. Good morning, Chirabo. Good morning, sir. And we are glad to be here at UBC. Then just next to me, I have Barbara Atim, who is the Standards Officer at UNBS. Welcome, Barbara, and good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Now, I'll begin with Sylvia. When you talk about this particular day, it's a global day. Let's first understand what was the main essence of having such a day globally recognized and celebrated.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo, and good morning to our viewers once again. Yes, as you said, today is World Consumer Rights Day. World over, we are all commemorating and celebrating the consumers, because there's a common saying that the consumer is the king, the customer is the king. So as consumers, this is a day that was designated to all of us to reawaken ourselves about our rights, our responsibilities, and our special position in the business sector, in the environment, in the world. So it is a day that we come back to you as consumers to remind you about your rights, to remind you about your responsibilities, and most importantly, to remind you that you're very key players in the promotion of trade, in the facilitation of trade, but also in the way the world runs. So we just want to emphasize that the consumers, you have rights. These rights, you have a right to know. You must have the knowledge on what is taking place around you. You have the right of choice. You must make a decision. For example, if you go out there in the market, there's so much to buy, there's so much to consume, but at the end of the day, you have the right to make the right choice. So you will choose a particular product and leave another one. So basically, today we just remind ourselves about our role. We celebrate you as a consumer, and we will remind you that you have a key factor to play in the day-to-day operations of businesses, but also to ensure that what you consume, what you buy, is safe and is of the right quality for your own good health, for the protection of the environment, and also for the facilitation of the economy.
Now, Chirabo, before I bring in Barbara, this brings me to ask you what is the mandate of UNBS, because most of the Ugandans now, all they care for is the Q mark there. Do they see the UNBS mark? If it is there, then 100%, this is safe for me to consume. Others may even go to the expiry date, but not so many do that. It's all about if this is produced here, where's the Q mark, if they have it. So you ask the body, what is your mandate in protecting the rights of the consumer?
Thank you so much. The Uganda National Bureau of Standards is the apex body when it comes to the development, promotion, and enforcement of standards. And we do this to ensure that consumers are safe. When we develop standards, we are giving that simple guideline that a manufacturer should follow while coming up with a product or a service. And when we come out like today, we are here speaking about your responsibilities and rights as a consumer, we are promoting the use of standards. And this we do through training to the manufacturers, because before the product finds itself on the market, it has to go through a production process. And this production process is usually undertaken by the producer or a manufacturer, either at a big scale or at a small scale But what is very important is that this person must follow the specifications as they are stipulated in a particular standard. And when you follow those specifications that are stipulated in the standard, the UNBS's role is to come and audit you and guide you that actually what you are undertaking at your factory, at your industry, is in line with the internationally and nationally specified requirements. And when we do that, that's why the moderator has said that all that you mind about is to see the quality mark. That quality mark is the symbol that we put there for the consumer, for you to be sure that a third party, an objective party like UNBS, because UNBS, we are not into business, we are not manufacturers, and yet we are there to facilitate the manufacturer or the producer. So when you look at that quality mark, it is the confidence that you get as a consumer that a third party competent enough, like the Bureau of Standards, has tested this product and can confirm that if you take it, if you buy it, it will not bring any issues to your health. And when we speak about Consumer Rights Day, we emphasize a lot to do with public health and safety, and then the environment. When we are assessing the industry, when we are assessing the manufacturers, we put in context that whatever you do, this should not harm the health and the safety of the consumer as well as the environment. So when the consumer sees the UNBS quality mark, it's an attestation that we have competently assessed the process through which that product is being manufactured, and we can confirm that you take it and you will not be harmed or you will not be affected, and also the environment has been taken note of.
Now this brings me to Barbara. Barbara, rightly knowing now that there are consumer rights, and also knowing that yes, UNBS gives that Q mark after a thorough process of determining how safe these products that are going to be consumed are. Let's look at the responsibility then of the consumer, because Chirabo puts it in perspective that the Q mark is a justification of a thorough process, but still remains in the hands also of the consumer to ensure they access their rights. So where's their responsibility then?
Okay. Well, thank you. The consumer needs to make sure that they check every product that they buy to make sure that it has the Q mark, because that is the only proof they have that the product is safe for consumption. The other thing the consumer can do is to acquaint themselves with these standards that are being produced, because especially if that consumer is actually also a producer, because sometimes the consumer is also a producer, so that they can be able to also make the products that conform to the standards that have been made. These are some few, but a consumer can do more than just wait, especially when these standards are available for use.
Okay, now I'm trying to picture out, I'm a consumer, and I want to buy a number of things. Maybe I'll look at, I want to buy some drink, I want to buy some electronics, I want to buy some lotion. So if I enter a supermarket, or if I go to a retail shop, just take my viewer through this. What are those things that I must really have on my fingertips to ensure that what I'm buying is authentic, apart from saying there's a Q mark? What are some of those?
When you get into any premise where you're going to buy something, sometimes it can be a shop or it can be a supermarket. The first thing to do is how are these products being stored? Because those are good hygiene practices that are acceptable to all places that stock produce, some of them which are actually food and drinks. So you need to first find a place that is of good hygiene. Because if you just walk into an area and everything is upside down, as the consumer, what we expect of you is, first of all, don't even bother to go to such a place if they are not responsible to make sure that they are operating in a good hygiene premise or a place where things are stored very well. If it's a supermarket, you must make sure that everything that you want is being stored in a good well. For example, if someone is selling food and drinks items, and then he's mixing them up with laundry or soap products, or things that which can cause a lot of cross-contamination. So that is one point of divergence for you as a consumer. You just know you're in the wrong place. Then two, there should be, there's always a cost or a fee that is attached to a product. For example, if you want to buy a kilogram of beans, you should know that the beans are at this cost. And when you buy them, there is what we call fair trade. Fair trade is something also that's very important, and it's a role of the UNBS to ensure that you're getting the right quantity. For example, if you say you want a liter of milk, if you're going to buy prepackaged milk, then that product must be labeled. You must be able to differentiate that I'm buying 500 grams or I'm buying one liter of milk, and it is evidently written for you on the product label. You should be able to read and appreciate it. Then two, you should know who this person that is selling to you that product is. If it is manufactured by Barbara and Company, then it should be there that these are biscuits manufactured by Barbara and Company. If you want to call these people, their contacts are there. You can call them, you can email them, but also if you wanted to verify physically, even their physical location is there. It helps us a lot. It's called traceability, and we usually encourage the entrepreneurs, the business people, to stock products of known manufacturers, of known producers. In case we find any problem with that product, then we can trace it back to the right person. Or if the product is really very good and many consumers are yearning for it, you can trace it back and get more of stock or refer your consumers to that particular person. So there is a lot of information that is put on these products that are put in the premises. Do not go and buy something, because I have seen, we have come across some premises that actually sell products without any label. So you just go there and tell them, I want bushera. No. But you even don't know where it is coming from. So if you wanted to trace and know in case of anything, because as UNBS, we usually receive consumer complaints that I went to this particular shop or supermarket and I bought this item, but I am suspecting that it is the one causing me maybe a stomach upset, or I found there some foreign, yes, it is causing me skin irritations, or I found there some foreign particles or matters that I think are dangerous. You see, and when we are doing that, we usually want to see what is it that confirm that actually you bought this from so and so. And if you bought this from so and so, what made you to make that decision anyway? Because we are speaking about consumer rights and responsibilities. You have the right, and it's also your responsibility to make the right choice, because the money that you're using to buy anything is your money, hard-earned money. So before you make that choice to buy something, to purchase something, yeah, what is it that you're looking for? Are you really convinced that what you're going to buy is what will really give you the benefit that you want? And in case of anything, are you convinced that you can go back?
Backtrack.
You can backtrack and say, you see, I was here and there is evidence. For example, asking for a receipt. Very many people sometimes buy products worth is so much, and you don't have any evidence that you actually purchase these things from.
Well, Chirawa will be coming back to the issue of the receipt now that you've brought in. But, Atim, there's something I want to supplement. Let's have that.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that a consumer also has a right to report. She mentioned a few of deviations, maybe on the premises, maybe the product has caused an upset. They have that right to report to UNBS using a toll-free number what they have discovered for their own protection and also for the protection of others. Yes.
Now, when you talk about rights, that means if they are violated, you have where to run to. I've seen a number of times when the consumers looking at those that avail the goods to them, consumers seem to be at the mercy of the service providers or those that are providing actually. Now, how does UNBS come in here? Because I've bought a number of things, and when you check on their receipt, it's very clear that goods once sold are not returnable. Do you know what that means? That no matter whatever I find with this good after I've left their premises, it is up to me, no matter how much money I've lost. And when you try to go back, they would say, let's look at your receipt. Then they will look at it and they will tell you, but did you read this very well? However, I've also bought goods that even the receipt is very clear. 1 year guarantee, 5 years guarantee, you know, and in case of anything, you take back that very product to the shop and they receive you with joy, even just make a replacement. I've seen it most when it comes to electronic gadgets when you buy from recognized stores. I don't want to mention names. It may sound like advertising for them, but how do you protect that ordinary consumer? I've bought something, then I'm told I can't get my money refund, I can't get an alternative out of this or a replacement. So then, will these rights have meaning for such a person? Chirago?
Yes, I want to say that actually these have a meaning. And it's the reason why the government of Uganda has set up so many regulators. And UNBS, we are just one of those regulators. For example, we usually want to encourage the public, the Ugandans, go and buy products from an established place. Don't, for example, many people want to buy products as you're going back home. Down at the taxi park, a hawker is moving around.
They're cheaper?
Yes, he's cutting down the cost and is now taking advantage. You're in a rush hour, so you will not even take time to assess anything, and you will not even trace that person. And we are saying no. In this era, things have changed. We are celebrating that informed consumer that takes time, that takes interest in everything that they purchase, that consumer that is really awake, that consumer who is vigilant, that consumer who knows their right, who is assertive. If, for example, you buy something from an established outlet, you will go. If it is not working, you have a right to go back. And if they do not listen to you, and I want to make this very clear, if they do not listen to you, go to the authorities. UNBS is one of them. We have given you our toll-free number, the 0800-133-133. If you ring that number, you'll get help. We shall come as UNBS. All we need from you is evidence that actually you went to supermarket A and it is where you got this product. And when we go there, we are a government we are an institution set up by government operating under an act of parliament. We have a right. We shall go to that premise, inspect it, and verify your claim. If indeed we find that actually there is stock of products that are not befitting human consumption, products that fall short of the requirements of the Uganda standard, the UNBS has the right to take on that person. Whether you're a manufacturer or an industrialist, whether you're a distributor or a stockist, UNBS will take you on. And I want to tell Ugandans, Even as we speak now, we have what we call mobile team monitoring. We have a market surveillance department whose role is to police the market. We have gone ahead to put roadblocks. I don't know. Because we've realized that actually people take advantage when they know that the UNBS will come to a supermarket, so they will move and distribute. You've seen these mobile vans, the mobile vehicles moving around and making doing distribution. Oh, mugati, you see, and when in the real market, bread is going for 5,000 shillings, and this person is moving around on a mobile van and is vending bread at 3,000. So we have intercepted such people. We have intercepted such people. Yes, you're selling it at 3,000, but what is it that you're selling to the Ugandan? And if you took off time to see what the Bureau does on a daily basis, you will really appreciate. When we find you, you have no product name, you have no quality mark, you're just taking advantage of people who are moving around and just selling anything. We have taken on people. Just recently, we destroyed products worth so much, millions of Ugandan shillings, that we were able to confiscate, that we were able to impound across the for the entire year that we just closed as Uganda. And you know, it hurts us as UNBS1 to have those products destroyed, but we have no choice. If we have reached out to the producers and the manufacturers, given them the capacity, trained them on what it is that they are supposed to do, and then you present to the consumers products that are not befitting, products that compromise the quality of life of Ugandans, and Ugandans are reaching out. And we want to thank the public. Many of you reach out to us, and that's how we have come to
being
realize,
able to at least identify some of these.
Identify, because we cannot
among
say,
the products, I saw so much of cement, and I was like, yes, at least this is something very good, because fake building material is a danger. But now this also takes me to the theme of today, which is clean energy transitions to the start with what is clean. Because when we talk about the theme, clean energy transitions, one of the things I see, this is consumer protection. We're talking about clean energy. Let's begin by understanding more why this theme this year, and what is, to begin with, even clean energy. Yes, Barbara.
Okay. So clean energy refers to energy sources, to the kind of energy that you can get from zero emission renewable energy sources, such as solar, such as biogas, LPGs among them. Generally, those that do not emit harmful substances to the environment. So it's very important that as consumers, you think about the environment, but most importantly, your health as a person. So this year, we want to encourage consumers to exercise their rights as they transition from the fossil-based, or I would say the dangerous sources of fuel, to the clean ones in their homes. So, for example, we know that in Uganda, most consumers are using kerosene for lighting, and then they're using coal-based energy sources for cooking. So statistics have shown that this kind of energy that Ugandans are using are actually the core sources of diseases. For example, lung cancer, because actually they consume it unawares, but if we can transition to the sources which are clean and yet still usable, then that is also very important.
How available and affordable would these be?
They're affordable.
For ordinary Ugandans, because the Chiravos, the Atims, the Roberts of this world, you know, these, first, they know the value of having clean energy. you know, because they know that later on diseases, respiratory diseases will come up, the lung cancers you've talked about. But you're looking at an ordinary Ugandan who even today, I'll give you one of the things I find very funny and dangerous at the same time. Sometimes I do some community work, but they have a kavera on top of over the food. And then after they cover with a saucepan, either the black kavera, matoke is cooked within a polythene bag, you know, and you're like, UNBS cannot come to enforce this. This is our standard of cooking. I don't know if you have them. But this is a danger. And someone is comfortable, very comfortable. Yet I would think that this would be common knowledge. I don't want to use the word common sense. Common knowledge for someone to know that this kavera, when I put it on fire, and then this vapor and all that, but they're comfortable. So such friends of ours, fellow Ugandans, then how would you hope, how easy is it for them to adapt and make a choice for clean energy?
Okay, two things. The assumption that all Ugandans are aware is an assumption. Some people are actually ignorant of the dangers. Yes. Then secondly, it's also a myth to assume that they are expensive. It's just that you have not spoken to the sources that will give you the information regarding the prices and the ways in which to maybe pay up. So you'll find that in some cases, the initial installation price is high, but there's an arrangement that can be made. Yes. Then going forward, it's actually very cheap compared to the fossil-based. So it's just a lack of information from the right sources. Because you see, there's one thing in Uganda, when someone hears that something is expensive, even without inquiring, they just say it is expensive. Or when they see it is well placed or well built or well installed, they just assume it's so expensive. So it is important that the consumer goes to the right people to get the right information and also check on the payment terms. Yes, because this is for the long term, it's not for the short term. Yes. Well,
we hope those that find it hard to have a meal, when they get that information, they are able to have an alternative of preparing whatever they are preparing. But Chiravo, throughout, and UNBS talks about standards. Uganda National Bureau of Standards. But simplify for us this word standards in your perspective, and actually, how many standards are there? Because most of the time, this doesn't mean standards. We have uniform standards, you know, and how accessible are these standards?
It's very true, as my colleague Barbara has said. Yes, globally, the world has decided, you know, it's a World Consumer Rights Day. So the international organizations, of which UNBS is a party, and of course UNBS becomes a party to represent the interests of Uganda. So when they decide to focus on clean energy transition, there is something that they have observed that we need to take note of and focus. As UNBS, we develop so many standards, and I said earlier, standards is a simple document that stipulates to you the requirements and specifications that must be followed while producing or manufacturing a product or while delivering a service. I'll just take an example of course, UNBS, we have so many standards, over 4,000 standards in the areas of food and agriculture, chemicals, cosmetics, construction, engineering, and when we also speak about clean energy. For example, solar. If you look at solar products, and now I want to speak to my people who are in the village. Is it more expensive to buy Kelsen and use Tadoba, yeah, on a daily basis? Because if you look at a liter of Kelsen now goes for around 5,000, and maybe if you have maybe 2 rooms or two or 3 places where the adults are sleeping, the living room, and then the children, that means you'll have Tadoba times 3 and you can use a liter. If you're very, very, very conservative, you can use a liter for a week. That is 5,000. And how many weeks are in a month? Those are 4. That is 20,000. And through government, if you look at the Ministry of Energy, the rural electrification programs, where government is offering subsidies to importers and traders in clean energy. People who are importing solar products. These are products that are really highly subsidized by the government in terms of revenue. They do not pay taxes just like an ordinary person. So these products are so subsidized. We have developed standards for many of them, from the bulbs or the lighting systems to bigger systems that even farmers are using in irrigation. So yes, and solar panels. So as UNBS, what we are ensuring is that we have standards for these items that are used in clean energy. And if you buy a simple solar system, you can get one at 90,000, ranging between 90,000 and 150. It will give you maybe 2 lights or 3. You put one in the kitchen, another where the children are sleeping, and one to light in the sitting room and all the other rooms. And you're not getting exposed to anything. We have seen reports where people leave children in their houses, and these lamps burn up everything. But with the solar energy, you're very sure that nothing will happen. If you get, we have even gone ahead to regularize technicians, people who are certified by government, to come and install for you. These people are even in the villages, within our communities. We have the parish development model. Those are people that are working at parish levels. You'll get someone, they'll come once and install for you a lighting system.
And then save the dangers that come
you
with
save all those other dangers
energy.
Of using unclean energy.
Now, this brings me to the issue of certifying these products. And now I'm happy I have Barbara, who happens to be the standards officer. I've spoken to a number of producers. And one of the questions sometimes I ask them is, why aren't your products certified by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards? Some have told me it is hectic. It's a very long process. Others have asked me, at what stage do you think I should go to UNBS? You know, many have asked me that question. Is it when I'm starting my business, I have no consumers yet, or when I've made a name? Some have even told me it is expensive. If I have 5 flavors, each they cost this. So much as we say that we should have safe products, but are we making it conducive for people not to break the law? Because these are things of about life. If I take substandard products to the market, ignorant consumers that don't know their rights then come for these products because the one producing them says, but it's a bit hard for me to get there. Maybe Chirabo first with a spokesperson. How have you been able to handle this? How possible is it for me, who is manufacturing my banana juice, who's manufacturing, trying out my success in coming out with something electronic, to have that certified by the National Bureau of Standards?
First, I want to make this clear to our viewers and listeners that certification is a service that the UNBS offer. But before you even get that UNBS certification, because you asked a question, at what time should I come to the UNBS? When I'm already having a brand name and I'm in the market, or at that point of initiation, or when I'm just starting? And I want to say, come to UNBS as early as possible. We have different staff who are there to help you. For example, if you want to manufacture, if you want to manufacture cooking stove, because we are speaking about clean energy transitions, we have these cook stoves. You've seen cook stoves that are energy saving, you know, that people are coming creatively Ugandans are coming up with that will consume less of the charcoal, or those that are using briquettes. If you have that idea, first come to the UNBS. One, we will take you through a process which is training and education. We need to find out whether you have knowledge in manufacturing or producing that particular product you're saying you want to produce. So when we give you that knowledge, you assess yourself and know, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm on the right track. Or I was getting it totally wrong. So you make that decision early enough. It is dangerous for you to come at the last minute, because if we find you have even invested and you've invested in the wrong thing, then we'll tell you, do it once again.
Quickly on the pricing.
We have a package for those that are starting, the small-scale manufacturers and entrepreneurs who pay 500,000 shillings to get UNBS certification, and then 1 million for the big manufacturers. So the issue of costing should not be the reason why Ugandans should not come for certification.
Okay, well, in the interest of time, team, let me have your parting shot.
Okay, thank you. My parting shot is that think as a consumer, think long run, think long term, think your health. This is very important. And get in touch with UNBS when you don't have answers to certain questions. Don't make assumptions. Don't speak to people who are telling you things which are off. That is my parting shot. Otherwise, happy Consumers Day.
Okay, Chiro, in a minute, please.
Yes, we want to say, Ugandan consumers, we celebrate with you this World Consumer Rights Day, and as UNBS, we are committed more than ever to make sure that the Ugandan consumers are safe, that their health is guaranteed through the consumption of certified UNBS products. And you can engage us anytime on our toll-free number 0800-133-133. Be vigilant, read the information that is on the product labels, and where you are suspicious and not contented, contact the regulators, UNBS and government. We are there to serve you. Happy World Consumer Rights Day.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for having phone time and joined us this morning on the World Consumer Rights Day. Well, the ball is in your hands. It is your money after all. These are not free goodies for you. And even if they were free goodies, of course, your health would be a priority. So ensure that you take all it takes to have products that are safe for you to take. One of the things I look out for is always the expiry date of what I'm going to take, and the Q mark, that is the quality mark by UNBS. Then in case of anything, of course, I make alarms as soon as possible, because some of these things may affect you in the long run, not immediate. If you're lucky, some may even show. For others, sub-quality, fake products, you may waste your money. And I pray and hope that this issue of goods once sold is not returning. People, stop putting these things there. We have our rights. Don't step on our rights by denying us opportunity in case we get fake goods. See you in the next hour. Ruben is here to take you through the world of sports. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Pick of the day on UBC. Objective and non-partisan.
Honorable Minister, there were a number of points. I want to start with you.
Straight from the hearts of open-minded men and women.
Money tends to move faster at night. So when people are not counting,
don't take it for granted.
Candid and authentic.
Because Uganda is not Thailand.
That's not correct, and we should stop that kind of mentality.
So what I'm saying
That's
is
a trick question. Don't answer.
I'm not getting